200 scientists. Our mission was to develop an ethnic bomb capable of decimating the black population.
Kill too easy on all those bricks. And what would you have preferred? Retribution?
Not retribution. Justice. Carolita.
The medical examiner found traces of Apartied in her bloodstream.
Stand. Drug dealing, robbery of violence.
Never heard of him? What's that, police? The beach, they were organized as if they were protecting something.
Upper Moon Spider Project, guys. A secret project. Scientists and doctors were instructed to develop chemical weapons, viruses, anything to prevent blacks from increasing in number.
But it's kept. We've got everything we need to lock them up. With your enemies, then you work with your enemies, and they become your partners. We decided that we were going to live together. The past is the past. Some things aren't easy to forgive.
Orlando Bloom stars in this graphic Apartied movie. Fact-based account of the graphic atrocities done to black subjects during the apartheid regime. Bloom's own father, if not his stepfather, had been a white black activist in South Africa fighting for the liberation of black people underneath the apartheid regime. Bloom's father had died fighting the white South African government. There's speculation whether it was his real father, biological, or his stepfather that had been the black civil rights activist.
On the other hand,
it may be a bad tragedy, but we need to think about the black lives that had been lost during the brutal apartheid regime in South Africa. That must be the reason why Orlando Bloom wants to star in the movie. What happened to his father? Welcome to the Cardiac Champagne Network. If you're new to my channel, I'm Cardiac Champagne. YouTube channel is dedicated to Black history and Christ the Redeemer. Today, we'll be revisiting the apartheid.
You're not in Johannesburg anymore. Die here.
He's Mandela.
does somebody want me? I have cherished the ideal. It is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
This movie is the biographical movie epic taken from Nelson Mandela's book, A Long Walk to Freedom.
I have beautiful children. I want them to walk free in their own land.
Hand-cooked crisp while I view Black history videos with you.
They're not breaking any laws. For 50 years we have been talking non-violence. Not anymore.
Where assault, I was never assaulted.
Sentence will be life imprisonment.
Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer made a black apartheid movie directed by a black female director. Apartheid movie director is a
first Hollywood studio film to be directed by a black woman. As a result,
no, the movie shows the hard, brutal treatment of black subjects in places featured on screen.
Then again, to have a
This black man is brutally, violently tortured by the white South African government. His son is also detained by white South African police and is electrocuted with electrodes.
Keep it up. A dry white season.
cool.
Remember, this is a protest march. We are not here to fight the police.
Going to do that, and of course I had to
The
go
black
to
director
South
lived
Africa,
in South Africa under the brutal apartheid regime. She wanted to know how it felt
so
like
I went underground.
in order to direct the movie.
What could I do? The only to get to Soweto, for example,
Tells the graphic bad horrors of the apartheid. There's the black director. MGM was the only film company willing to use their money to endorse the movie. They did not tone down the brutal, graphic, violent interrogation torture scenes.
No, it is not true.
You signed this statement, man. You signed it.
No, I never saw Ngubeni. I signed it because Captain Stone forced me to. Yes, it's what he
Fact-based
did.
account of a brutal, racist, violent white police officer who tortured black detainees in detainment. It does not hold himself accountable for the bad, violent atrocities.
Forged in the face of adversity.
Graphic torture done to black subjects underneath his administration.
The injustice and paranoia of the apartheid system during the time of the Soweto uprising. It attracted big Hollywood stars like Donald Sutherland, Marlon Brando, Susan Sarandon, and local actors like Mackay, John Carney, and Janet Suzman. Martinique-born Eugene Palsy became the first black woman to direct a movie produced by a major Hollywood studio, MGM. The ban on the film was lifted in 1990.
No, de Klerk had the movie banned in South Africa because it looked bad on his government and bad on him directly. F.W. de Klerk ordered an assassination attempt on the black director.
To get to Soweto, for example.
She was in France and in Europe at the time. Several other people who had badly exposed F.W. de Klerk when the apartheid regime had been on had assassination attempts on their life.
Now, our movement seeks to avoid violence. But your own words call for direct confrontation.
De Klerk had been directly behind it. The bad, graphic, violent, brutal treatment of black detainees was done underneath his administration.
As you are, we're gonna catch you red-handed one day. Say your name! Bantu Stephen Biko. Me or jail me, or even kill me. But
No, de Klerk knew full well of the bad, violent torture that had been done to black detainees while he had been in office.
What do you want to do? Accept what this government's doing is going to go on doing?
cry freedom.
He said he has no conscience of the bad, brutal force the white South African police done to black. He washed his hands of it.
In a country where order is maintained by force, this country has a special kind of problem. Talking about police firing on unarmed people.
He said he's not to blame for any atrocities done to black and has no conscience. He's a bad abomination. Directly lied and said that he was not aware of any brutal graphic acts of torture done to black detainees.
I have spent time in prison and wasted away most productive years.
You are on the island. You will die here.
The girls are not allowed visits until they're 16.
Those conditions would make any man very bitter.
Never leave here again.
His heart to be full of hate.
Did you feel hated? Did you feel that you were the object of hatred, or were you just a prisoner in an impersonal system carrying out the will of the state?
There was a lot of cruelty. Was practiced on myself and my colleagues. They were assault. I was never assaulted.
The next movie is entitled The Willoughby Conspiracy.
Apartied.
Come off tonight.
Treatment with Will Be the Movie. But later, Jacques Twala Sidney Poitier is an activist South African revolutionary
Sidney Poitier, the rebel.
Serving time at the infamous penal colony Robben Island off Cape Town, where he's been for 10 years. He is freed.
Let him go free.
The state is withdrawing its case.
That was the start of the Wilby conspiracy.
A court appeal due to the work of his crusading defense attorney Rena Van Niekerk, Prunella G. And engineer Jim Keogh, Michael Caine, who is a
Michael Caine, the outsider.
Almighty God.
The black subject, played by Poitier, wins his legal court case, and that's when Michael Caine implies
Together.
the white woman defending subject go back to her
Its case.
That was
to celebrate legal win in court.
Release, Rena suggests the three head to her office to open a bottle of champagne to celebrate. On the way, they're pulled over by two cops stopping, searching and cuffing black citizens. Twala hasn't any ID due to just being freed from custody, so the belligerent and aggressive cop slaps him in the face, drags him from the vehicle and cuffs him. When Rena intervenes, the cop knocks her to the ground. Keogh wades in and he and Twala beat the shit out of the lawmen, leaving them battered and unconscious before fleeing the scene. Realising the enormity of what's just transpired, after all, they're in what's pretty much a very unforgiving police state, where not just black people, but those with sympathy towards them are instant targets. Twala and Keogh must get out of the country.
Without him, and he's no chance without you.
Mike Ryder.
Almighty God. What am I doing here?
He didn't want to get involved.
I don't know whether to shoot you or call the police. You better shoot me. I'm neutral.
Twala suggests they travel 900 miles to Johannesburg by car, where he has contacts in a political group, the Black Congress Party. They can help them cross the border into Botswana. However, they're unofficial.
All hands tomorrow.
Sidney, they let him go free.
The state is with.
In the film, Sidney Poitier, Michael Caine hate each other. Sidney
This is the man you asked me to trust. You made a deal with the police. I've got a right to know.
And double crosses.
Your friends may call you a traitor.
Poitier, the black subject, does not trust his white counterpart played by Michael Caine. There's
The cuffs come off tonight.
mistrust is badly deep-rooted in Sidney Poitier's character. I will be no different. Only the white South African government.
See if they stink of fear.
He was behind the Wilby conspiracy. An adventure.
Even though he might have acted on Sidney Poitier's behalf, the fact is, as a black person, you would not trust him.
Made him apart.
Your box in. Following
To persuade her husband Blaine to agree to fly them across the border by first threatening to make public his use of drugs illegal and his proclivity for sex with black women, which, it's made clear, is also illegal. Interracial sexual activity is a major crime under this regime and will ruin a person's life.
box and go through that slot. You're suicidal. Right. You're all suicidal.
A treasure hunt that plunges deep into the earth.
Little wonder then that Blaine prefers to run the risk of flying against 3 Air Force jets instead of
Romeo, you're boxed in. Following.
Across 900 miles of escape
exposure and becoming a complete social pariah. And finally,
into the earth.
Sus, you made a deal with the police. I've got a right to know.
And double cross.
Call you a traitor, but I call you patriot.
An explosion of action, danger, and excitement.
Now!
Poitier. Caine.
You must also understand that warders who worked with us so exploited the victims of the system. That is negative, like hate. You are dealing with human beings and you wanted to live in peace. And let me tell you something deeper still.
Generation, the one that came of age in the 60s, Nelson Mandela was a towering man of myth and legend, of action and passion, of selfless sacrifice. And before any of us ever dreamed, he became the embodiment of a victorious, decades-long struggle against white oppression.
I said, Mr. de Klerk is not the president of South Africa. He's the president of the whites. Into the debate between President de Klerk and myself. I'm not going to have a schoolboy debate. I am going to debate national issues.
Would call that victory a miracle. Mandela, the miracle maker. These rare images from the book, Mandela, the authorized portrait, help us...
Nelson Mandela's book, entitled A Long Walk to Freedom, directly inspired the Hollywood blockbuster movie
Prepared to die.
Story of Mandela's long walk to freedom. That the man who was to become a legend was... Konu is a gentle place. Children still play as Mandela did. Mandela grew into manhood, led him to fight against oppressive white minority rule.
Bantu Stephen Biko. Stephen Biko, black activist, a leader. He had the courage to speak out against oppression. This is the story of their extraordinary friendship. Ford and Denzel Washington as Stephen Biko.
As you are, we're gonna put the white. Say your name.
Bantu Stephen Biko.
You. Steve Biko, founder of the Black Consciousness Movement in South Africa, was a revolutionary thinker and activist whose ideas empowered Black South Africans to reclaim their dignity under apartheid. Though Biko's activism was short-lived due to his brutal death in police custody in 1977, his legacy of self-liberation remains. He once famously said, "The most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed." Biko's philosophy encouraged Black pride, rejecting the inferiority complex imposed by colonialism. His tragic death at just 30 years old transformed him into a martyr for freedom in South Africa and beyond. Steve Biko, whose vision of Black consciousness continues to inspire struggles for justice around the world.
Us to continue talking peace and non-violence against a government whose reply is only savage attacks on an unarmed and defenseless people.
In 1960,
In a world riddled with fear.
electrocution is used in the graphic, violent torture. No, I've been deeply traumatized by the brutal, graphic, violent torture scene in the movie called A Dry White Season. It was so bad. You saw the body convulse with bleeding from the eyes. The electrodes had been attached to the eyelids of the black subject, and the whole body convulsed. It was a violent convulsion. It's not like a cardiac arrest sign. There's blood everywhere. And the white South African government done that on the F.W. de Klerk's administration.
But racism as a phenomenon, as an attitude, sadly, exists in all human societies. I've been appalled to see during recent visits to Europe the extent to which racism seems to be increasing. The black American writer James Baldwin.
That's the black playwright and book author that he's directly referring to, James Baldwin.
Emigrated to France at the end of the 60s because he couldn't stand racism in America at that stage anymore.
He left the United States to live in France because of the bad degree of racism in America with the lynching of black men. Then left France and returned back to the United States because racism was just as bad in France.
But more white people read your novels, I believe, than black people.
Well, black
you may not read them.
10 years later, he returned to the States, saying that racism in France had now become worse than in the States, and by a young black South African who had emigrated, and who told me how he'd been beaten up by Scandinavian police at a railway station simply because he was black. And when he told them, but I'm a South African refugee, they said, why don't you go back there, because there they know how to treat your kind. And these may be exceptions, of course, but there seems to be an unfortunate attitude towards other people, towards strangers, whether they're blacks, whether they're Turks, whether they attitudes of superiority and discrimination seem to creep in, and is an evil lurking in all people.
A Dry White Season, a novel written by South African author Andre Brink in 1979.
The movie A Dry White Season was shot by a black female director. Was taken directly from a book. That's the book author Andre Brink, written by a white South African who...
But racism as a phenomenon, as an...
Andre Bleak, book author, Black ANC anti-apartheid movement in South Africa. He had known black subjects who were brutally, graphically tortured in interrogation. Entitled A Dry White Season, really tortured by the white South African government. It's his book that the black director made into a film. He's got black blood in him, has a Dutch Afrikaner family with white slave owners. He opened him to the fact that he had black blood in him and did not demonize black people. And he graphic, detailed account of the brutality done during the interrogation. And the black director took the book and made it into a movie.
There's a tribute in honor of the thousands who fight.
Attack South Africa for it. Don't allow South Africa for a moment to escape from that racism exists in every person's heart, and one should try to eradicate that, because what racism really amounts to is a lack of understanding, a lack of communication, a lack of love, and people should eradicate that in their own minds.
Dank u wel, meneer Brink.
Thank you.
Realities of the apartheid regime in South Africa and the struggles faced by those seeking racial justice. Tragically, to torture inflicted upon him during a police interrogation, highlighting the brutality of the oppressive system. The novel openly criticizes the apartheid government, resulting in its ban in South Africa for a significant period.
Play for my money.
This white actress starred in the apartheid movie. No, I hated her character. I strongly resented her because she had a bad, stagnant, direct racist attitude. And the bad, graphic, violent atrocities done to black, she had not cared. The woman in real life is a white South African. I don't know what her direct view is of the clerk of the apartheid regime, but most white people have a bad, direct attitude as they don't feel the bad affliction done to black.
Like they used to call him. It's an honor to be here tonight once the film is reconstituted, and it's Mandela Day, and I'm in Durban, and the film is coming back to life for everybody to see.
No, the movie uses hard, bad, direct racist wording to hit black. The black director said that the book author would not know anything about the brutal, violent torture done to black detainees, but he did have the decency to write a detailed graphic account of the bad injustice done to black.
Prevalent within the South African government, the disenfranchised black population. However,
this book is written by the same black rights activist.
So it is the story of a slave living in South Africa in 1834.
It tells you how The white Dutch novelist had black blood in him through the slave trade.
But racism...
Making all a baby with her slave master's son, and he says he's going to free her, but he doesn't free her. So she goes and complains. This is right before emancipation in South Africa. Slaves could go and make complaints.
And it's a factual account of his white South African family being slave owners. It's a factual biographical account of a black female slave who gave birth to 4 black biracial babies, which she had with the slave owner's son.
Not long before the slaves were freed there, she's given birth to 4 children, 2 of whom are still alive, by the son of her owner.
And the slave owner's son.
The family is called Brink, and in fact it is Andre Brink's.
Who wrote a book explaining his black slave blood lineage in his family.
His own ancestors. He's looked back and discovered that his own...
It's his own life biography.
Gosh, and he would be an interesting genealogy, wouldn't it? Fascinating.
He has black blood in him from the slave trade.
But it's beautiful.
His family was slave owners.
I still found it quite hard to read, just the topic and just what happens. But
to adapt the book, to feel the country, to smell, the earth, and to meet with the people. I was 10 years old when I decided to be a filmmaker, and I was in Martinique. And when I was 13, 14 years old, my mother gave me a book to read, Sugarcane Alley in English, but the French title is Rue Case Nègre. She didn't know that by doing that simple gesture, she will create a kind of hurricane in my body, in my head.
Roger, il voit comme la case est propre. Les vêtements passent.
The black director directed a movie entitled Ruby Bridges about the bad racial segregation in the United States, where a factual 4-year-old child, a black child, was the first to be integrated in the United States.
The great state of Louisiana says you cannot enter. Thank you, sir. The President of the United States says that I can.
It's all a shock for me. There is this book that talks about black people, children, old men and old women, people from the sugarcane plantations, people that I knew. That was part of my life.
Movies directed by the black female director is this French film called Simeon. It's about a dead music teacher whose ghost comes back to inspire a mechanic to become a stage musician. He takes inspiration from the dead music teacher and starts a band.
A romantic musical fairy tale.
The only issue is the entire movie is shot in French, as the black director is from a French-speaking country and island. Seems interesting. But the Bible said you shouldn't divinate with the dead. Most spirits are badly malevolent. I'm a firm believer in the Bible. Seems interesting. It did get recognition, as the movie won 4 awards, Oscars. As had a poor international release, it dominated French-speaking countries.
Inspired by the famous Zouk band Kassar. A treat for the eyes and the ears.
Pourquoi vous faites ça pour elle? Je vais demander à Simeon. Qui c'est celui-là?
Simeon by Ozan Pasi.
It's the same black director.
Tout ce défaut, madame.